Welcome back. Like you already seen, we had a first video where we had to wash and dry Flin. Flin is a Border Collie, and that was all about how to wash and dry a double-coated breed. In this video, we're gonna step forward and we're gonna modulate Flin, the Border Collie, on a commercial way. So Flin is not a show dog, he's really a very nice pet dog. And we are here to let you know and how to guide you how to modulate a Border Collie in a grooming shop. Enjoy! The first thing I do is shaving between the pads. So I'm taking all the hair out with the Showtech Expertino clipper, what's actually a perfect clipper for all small body parts and actually for shaving between the pads. So what I do is I take my thumb and my ring finger and I pull the left and the right toe behind. So actually the feet is opening itself and you have a flat body surface, so it's easy to shave. I hold the clipper on the blade because it has to be constantly in movement, and that's why, and that way I have a total control of my clipper and of my blade. So I shave all the hairs between the pads, and actually it's a triangle, so you need to stay between the left and the right toe and you shave all the hair off. Always keep in movement with your clipper, and this is really important because you're in movement, you cannot hurt, or you have less chance to hurt the dog. So always be in movement with your clipper. Don't push or don't pull on your clipper, just let the clipper do his work. The next thing I do is using the Experto to shave the tummy of Flin. And you see on the blade of the Experto you have different settings. You have a 40, you have a 15 and you have a 9. I really like to use it on a 9 or in between the 10 to shave the belly of Flin, otherwise you go very short. I put the tail between the legs and I hold with my left hand, because I'm right-handed, the tail and the leg together, and I just pull the leg up so he's leaning on his one back leg. I start shaving with the Experto and actually shaving a belly, so it's actually a triangle. Flin is a boy, so I'm shaving all the hair of the penis, and I'm always be in movement with my clipper, and also here, and it doesn't matter what body part you are shaving, but like I said before, it's always important to be in movement with your clipper. What's very important is that you hold the coat. If it's a Border Collie or it's a different breed, it doesn't matter, but you always hold the coat what's actually on the flat side of the dog so you don't shave it off. Very important. It's actually very important that on this part, of course, always be in movement with your clipper. Don't stand still with your clipper. If you are a dog groomer and it's your first client, or it's the client that comes the first time, sometimes you don't know how the dog will react. It's like shaving our legs. Sometimes dogs react by shaving their penis or the vagina of a female dog. I start from the back side to shave the penis, so I never start like with the teeth of my clipper so I can hurt the dog. I always start on the back side and be in movement with my clipper. If you do that, you will not hurt the dog, even if it's a male or a female. next thing I do is actually clipping the nails of Flin. What I have here is a nail clipper. I have stop bleeding powder. You never know what's going to happen. And I have a nail grinder. I'm using the Showtech Guillotine nail clipper. It's very easy to use and it's safe to use. And I really love to use the Guillotine nail clipper from Showtech. So I'm starting to clip the nails, and actually Flynn's nails are not very long. It's an outside dog, loves to play outside, and he doesn't have actually long nails. So what I'm actually clipping here is just the points of the nails. I'm very careful that I don't go too far so I don't hurt the dog. After I clipped all the nails, I really love to use the Showtech cordless nail grinder. It's rounding up all the nails. It's very easy to use, it's very safe to use, and I just round up all the nails that I have scissored so they are not sharp, and you cannot go too far with the nail grinder. You just let the nail grinder roll around the nail, that it's rounded up, that it's not sharp, and even with the nail grinder you can go a little bit shorter without having a bleeding nail. I'm starting to scissor the feet with the blender. It's a blender with a lot of teeth, so you can use and you can scissor a feet very smoothly. What I'm doing here is actually I'm combing up all the hairs, so all what is sticking out, what's longer than actually the shortest hair, I'm scissoring it down. I use my comb to comb all the hairs between the toes, and I comb them up so I can scissor them on the same length like the short coat on the feet. It's very important that you don't scissor too much. The feet, between the toes, it still has to be filled up my hair. So you only scissor the hair what is longer than the feet. After that, I'm using the Yento Sparkle series, and I prefer to use a curved scissor, but this is very personal. You can do it with a straight scissor also. And I start now by scissoring the outlines of the feet. After that, I'm going to the back side of the front leg, and you see from one point, that point, to below, all the hairs in between. Don't scissor it very short. Of course, you have to scissor it with a blender, but I really don't like it that you scissor that part, that body part, very short. Otherwise, you will have a very narrow feet, a small feet, and you have a very big body. So it will not be in balance. So keep it a little bit longer and scissor it like upwards, so it's one smooth part. And actually, you see, I don't scissor a lot. I just leave it very natural. I comb it up and I scissor it with a blender on a very natural way. A tip, like I said, don't go too short. Don't scissor it all off, but it will give you not a very nice finish and a very ugly feet. So keep it natural, keep it balanced, and scissor it up so it's one nice smooth line on the whole front leg. Once the back side is scissored, you also have the hairs on the thumb. Sometimes the hair is very long, and also there you have to scissor it with the blender. Never use on that body part like straight on a curved scissor. Always use a blender to scissor it on a natural way. After that, I'm checking the whole feet, and I'm using my curved scissor, I'm using my blender to have it all finished. So I take a look at the feet, I take a look at every toe, that not one hair is sticking out, that every outline is very nice finished, that you don't have a too long feet, that you really have a short and rounded feet. And that's what's really important with Flin, with the Border Collie. It's really important that you keep it short. So even if the nails are longer, that you really scissor the hair of the feet really short. Even if you go around and take the outline of the nail, never let hair very long there. It's important to scissor it short, so you have a short and round feet. Never let hairs come over the nails, because it will not give you a very finished and smooth result. So yeah, a dog has 4 feet, so you have to scissor all the 4 feet. So it's really important that you have 4 equal feet, that you don't have a narrow, long feet and the other one is short and round. So you have to scissor 4 equal feet, and it takes sometimes a while, and you have to comb and you have to scissor and you have to comb and you have to scissor to have the smooth result. So on the back side, from the hook, it's really a straight line. So I'm using my comb and I'm combing all the hairs up, and I comb it actually in a straight line, and I scissor the longer hair off. I don't go too short. It's actually the same reason as the front feet, that you have a muscled body, that you have a strong body, and then you're taking under 4 small feet. So don't scissor it too short. In a commercial way, scissoring a Border Collie in a commercial way, sometimes customers like to have it all very short, and you can scissor the longer hairs on the back side. It's depending what the customer wants, if it's a customer in a grooming shop or if you are a dog owner, depending on what you want. Also on the underneath the line on the belly, all the hairs have to be in balance. Don't go too short. Also there, even if it's a male dog, if you scissor the whole line off and you take it too short, you will have a very ugly dog coat. How more you scissor the coat on a Border Collie, how more sometimes the coat will change. It's depending if the dog is sterilized or not, or castrated. In Flin's case, he isn't. So don't scissor too much. Keep it all natural. What's really important, if you should scissor the line, is that it's on the same length in the middle of the dog and the front of the dog. So that you don't go too short on the chest, that you don't go too short on the belly line. Just keep it all in balance. So see, if you're scissoring this, just take your comb, measure it, that it's one smooth line between the front legs up to the chest. I'm finishing now also again the hairs on the front legs. It's all depending on what you want. This is how I would do it in the grooming shop on a commercial pet groom. But it's also depending on what the customer wants and what the customer asks. I never go too short. I just really take off the longest hair to have a very beautiful, most breed standard Border Collie that you can have on a commercial way. To scissor the chest, I stand in front of the dog. I hold the dog's head up and I'm looking that you have a straight line. So if you look that way, you see the left side, you see in between, and you see the right side. So it's very important that you hold the head up and that you comb, that you take the long hairs off with the blender, and that you scissor actually a straight line. A commercial groom, a lot of people ask to make it clean there on that private part of the dog. So I'm actually doing 2 fingers above and 2 fingers below, and all what's in between I scissor this off. I never go too wide, because if the dog puts the tail back, that you don't have a very short spot. And then I'm finishing it actually all up. I comb and I see if there are hairs that are sticking out, and I make it very smooth. I don't, as a commercial groom, I don't want to have hairs lower than the hook. So I'm using a chunker or a blender, whatever you have and whatever you want, and I'm scissoring them off, just on the line of the hook. Then it's the tail, and this is very depending on how you want it, a longer tail, a shorter tail. To scissor the tail, I hold it straight with the back, and I actually put 2 sides, a left side and a right side, and I hold the tail straight on the back. I comb it, and I really take my time to comb it so it's all clean and all the hairs are in the right space. I'm taking the tip. Some people don't like it. Some people like to have it a little bit shorter, but there is always a white spot on the tail. So don't scissor it all off. Comb it back again and make it a straight line. It's very easy. Just combing is very important to groom and to make the line straight. It's actually, the scissor is scissoring it off, but actually the comb is modulating the tail. Okay, so let's go to the front side of Flin, and we are going to the ears. I really like to modulate a Border Collie on a very natural way, and I comb and I see if there are hairs sticking out, really sticking out, that they sometimes are brown. A lot of Border Collies have brown hair over there. I really like to hand strip it. I don't like to hand strip this coat with a stripping knife, or I'm using my fingers, or in this case I'm using the Showtex solid stripper. So it's not a stripping knife, it's actually like a stone, and you grab the longest hair, actually the points of the longer hair, and I just hand strip them out. Why I'm doing this? Because if you would scissor it too much, it can be curly. So the next hair, what's turning up, can be not straight hair, but can be curly hair. And if you hand strip it, you keep the straight hairs around the ear or in front. Also, the brown will be less after a while. After I hand stripped it, the most part, the longest parts, I'm again using my blender because I don't want it to be a straight line. I really want to be natural. So because I'm using the blender, I hold the natural look and feel of the ear. So I'm taking my blender, I'm taking the points of my blender. Actually, I'm just scissoring it with the 4 last teeth of my blender, and I do it very smooth and I do it very gentle. I hold my fingers around the skin of the ear, so I don't want to scissor the ear and I don't want to hurt the dog. So I'm holding it, and it's the way that you're holding the ear what's very important. And I make it round. The Border Collie doesn't have a tip ear, but really a round ear. ear. So I'm scissoring it, I'm rounding it off. Okay, the last thing I actually do is the overlook and the completely look and feel about grooming and modulating a dog. I make it symmetrical on the left and the right side. I calm it, I take a look at it, I scissor it, and I see everything is natural and smooth. After that, it's actually the last part. The dog is finished, but not really finished. I really love to use a shine spray before the dog leaves the table. I'm using here the Showtech Brillatine spray, and it's actually one of my favorites because it gives a very natural shine and it doesn't get too oily or don't get too sticky. I just spray it on the coat, and I'm using a pen brush. I'm using the Yento 6060 pen brush. I just spray it on the coat. I leave it in for about 30 seconds and I brush with the pen brush and I'm modulating the coat. Okay, Flynn is very tired. He just wants to play in the garden. That was your video about how to modulate a Border Collie on a commercial way. So if you are a professional dog groomer and you had some doubts or you hesitated, I hope you learned something and I could guide you. If you are a Border Collie owner and you want to do at home some feet work, scissor work, I hope this was your video. See you next time. Bye bye.